Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Charlie Kerr from the band Hotel Mira. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
What's the weather like where you are right now?
Sunny. I'm in Los Angeles
Oh,
where I live.
you.
Yeah,
I'm
but
in Ottawa, Ontario, in Canada, and it's snowy and crappy and all that fun stuff.
well, I'm about to be sort of knee deep in the whole thing starting tomorrow night. So, yeah.
You should get a nice kind of mix of everything. Temperature up here can go from sunny for in the afternoon and then blizzard in the evening. Who knows?
We'll see, I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed and sort of hope the warmth of the crowd and sort of the spirit of rock and roll keep me warm for this tour.
That should do it for you for sure.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk today about, you, the band, your music, the tour. But for those who are new, can you give a little intro about yourself and Hotel Mira?
Yeah. Where uh Hotel Mira consists of me on vocals, and Mike Noble on bass, Clark Grieve on guitar, and Cole George on drums. We put out three records together so far. And then we all sort of played in different bands before that. And yeah, with the Perfectionism album that we put out in 2020, and now the I'm Not Myself album that we put out in September, we've managed to garner pretty awesome fan base, and we're about to take the show on the road, as they say, and do a headlining tour of Canada.
Yeah, you're actually stopping in Ottawa on your last date, I believe. So I'm gonna have somebody out to cover the live show.
Oh, that'll be amazing. Yeah, the last time we played Club Saw was a total highlight for me. And it was unexpected, and uh I think just the kids in Ottawa really connect to Hotel Mira. So yeah, it was an amazing show last time. I'm looking forward to coming back.
Should be fun. Now, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with you guys. When you came across my desk, I had to do some more research because it's hard to, check out every band out there that's doing some fun stuff. But
Yeah, it's a
I'm curious.
saturated market.
Yeah, I'm curious about where you guys got the name.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically like we needed a name, and I had like 50 names that nobody liked. And so I called up my friend Zach, desperately in search of a band name that wasn't taken. And he was like, "What do you think of the Mira Hotel?" And I was like, "Oh, I love that. What if it was Hotel Mira? I think that's sort of catchier." And we looked it up, and it wasn't taken. And so that became the name. And honestly, for me, uh, that's sort of intentional. I want the music to speak for itself, and I wanted a name that was timeless and catchy and looked cool on a t-shirt. There's significance and sentiment to all of us personally, but as far as the public's concerned, it's just an umbrella to make music under.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as it holds home to you, it makes it feel better that way.
Exactly.
Now, for yourself, who influenced your music early on?
Well, I my first ever job or gig was a Beatles cover band when I was 11.
Okay.
So the Beatles come up immediately. I absolutely was obsessed with Nirvana as a kid. And then sort of the garage rock movement of like the early 2000s, like so the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, TV on the radio, MGMT, The Strokes, all that, The Killers, like that that was such a amazing time for rock and roll. And then I love sort of a lot of those kind of new wave or post-punk acts like the Smiths and the Cure. I love pop music. Um, um, I'm pretty influenced by everything. Frank Ocean, St. Vincent, um, a lot of hip hop. Yeah, I don't know if it shows up, if our influences show up that much um in the music, because I just try to write from the heart. It's not really my concern in terms of where we wind up on the spectrum of genre.
Yeah, genre is pretty fluid these days. Everyone kind of just picks out what feels best to them.
And our latest album sounds like uh a mixtape, like sort of intentionally, like a indie rock mixtape, because it was pretty inspired by how I'm the younger brother, and so I would tag along to whatever my brother was up to as like a teenager, and we'd go to these house parties, and some hipster would have the control of the playlist, and they'd be playing Modest Mouse, but then they'd play Daft Punk the next song, and then they'd go into Death Cab or Fleet Foxes, and then over to something more emo, and then they'd play the blues, and then they played Led Zeppelin, and everybody was just screaming along to every word and dancing along, and I have such fond memories of like being a part of that. So that's sort of what the new record sounds like and reminds me of. And lyrically, it has this through line of an identity crisis that I sort of was going through. Um, yeah, that's my long-winded answer.
Now, what's the process like when you guys are putting together a whole record? Like how is picking songs and kind of making your story complete?
Well, this one was unique because I'd written like 60 songs. I got super I suppose for the most part, I'm a pretty prolific writer. Um, maybe quantity over quality, if I can be self-deprecating. So right when we finished writing Perfectionism or recording Perfectionism, I started writing what would be the next record, and I wrote like 60 songs uh, during lockdown, um, and we had to turn that.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Of course, my microphone decided to cut out during that, and I couldn't answer you or anything.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, if you want to pick up where we left off.
Yeah, well, Zoom will have recorded that, so I can still use that as an edit and cut everything up from there.
Totally.
Now, with the tour coming up,
Hmm.
what can people expect for a Hotel Mira show and all the new music?
I think just really a lot of uh energy and big sing-alongs, and expect to be entertained and maybe go through some catharsis. And I hope you arrive with an open mind and sort of uh leave um sort of with having had an experience, and connecting with strangers. And I think live music's just so magical. It's like um it's a hard one to distill, but I will say that like you're gonna get your money's worth. We've been doing this a very long time, and it's what we pride ourselves in.
No, it sounds awesome. How do you think over the years your music has evolved, going back from, let's say, like 2015's Mushrooms release to coming into the new stuff?
Well, first of all, entirely different lineup. Um, so there's that where I was still the main songwriter, but I was collaborating with different people. And yeah, like that's 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 10 years of just growing as a person and as a musician. Um, so you try to immerse yourself in this thing and learn as much as you can and be passionate. So I think it's no matter what, sort of a natural progression, and my philosophies with making any sort of art are just, it has to come from the heart, and I try not to repeat myself, and, and that's pretty much my whole secret sauce. And so far it's been great, and um yeah, I just have that thing where I just try to um forever a student kind of mentality. Like I hope that the projects get better and better and more distilled, and I continue to learn. But I think it's cool that you can sort of listen to my music and from when I was much younger, and that people still get something from those records is really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, when I was listening to some of the tracks, I could feel evolution through there, and then you could see, trying new sounds and kind of mixing things up a bit, and you could see the progression for sure.
Yeah, and I think that that's like if I can just calm my nerves about sort of the embarrassment of that, I think it's like a cool thing to leave behind. If I were to uh die suddenly or something, people would have uh 10 years worth of music, and to sort of as snapshots of where I was at and what I believed, and um and with artists that kind of give you that, I'm always so appreciative of that. Like there's those early Bowie records where he hasn't quite figured out um exactly how uh how he's going to maneuver his whole sound, and they're, I don't want to say they're like mediocre or bad, because it's still Bowie, but it's cool to kind of have documents of listening to somebody's evolution and discovering their sound.
For sure. Now, how do you think that, or how do you think the social media scene has helped with getting your stuff out there for everyone?
Um, I think it helped a lot. I think it's a big part of the job. It can be a frustrating, annoying part of the job, but we sort of owe a great deal of our new fan base to to being active on TikTok, and that did a lot for us. And then I think with Spotify being so global, obviously I hate what they've decided to pay artists, but in the same breath, they've gotten our music out to places that I've never even been before, and sort of that creates a buzz um, that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Hmm. What is the music scene like at home for you? Is there a lot going on there?
Well, home for me at this point is Los Angeles. And I would say, yeah, there's a ton of incredible bands and such a vibrant kind of music scene between like the Sid the Cat shows and going to Zebulon or going to the Troubadour or what have you. There's a lot of people doing a lot of cool stuff here and a great support for it. Uh, and I'm happy to be a part of it. The other day, somebody messaged me and was like, I was like, "Oh, how'd you hear of us?" And they were like, "Oh, you know, you're part of the LA alt rock scene." And we never really fit in anywhere. So it's really cool to be embraced and part of a scene for the first time because um certainly in Vancouver, it was always hard to find a place to put us on a bill.
That makes sense. I mean, music can definitely be picky in some spots.
Hmm.
Now, who are you listening to these days that you think more people should be listening to?
Okay. Um, Kylie V is a non-binary singer-songwriter from Vancouver who is incredibly talented. I think they're only 19 as well, so they are way too good to be that young. And then another non-binary singer-songwriter, Dust Quain, and the River Children. Um, Incredibly talented, also a drag performer, um, based in Vancouver. Um, they've been making awesome music. Um, the OBGMs out of Toronto, I think, are one of the best sort of rock acts in the world. Devours from Vancouver sort of makes some of the best pop or electronic music. I think there is Friday Pilots Club out of Chicago make really good rock music. Um, those are friends of ours. The Rare Occasions who took us on tour not long ago. They're based out of LA, originally from Boston. They're
Okay.
amazing. Um, Fake Shark, who's coming with us on this upcoming Canadian tour. They make really great music. What do people need to be listening to? Um, I think as like a general statement, I think people should be um, listening to more music that comes from um, uh, uh, indigenous people. I think that that is an underrepresented community in terms of what most people um, listen to, and yeah, and certainly when I think about being a little kid and looking to see um, uh, people who looked like me making rock music or what have you, that didn't really exist, and it should. And these days, there's a couple incredible acts. Uh, Black Belt Eagle Scout and Ace and and uh, Casino Borealis and a lot of amazing indigenous musicians. And yeah, that just wasn't the case when I was a kid. So um, it's beautiful to see that grow, and I encourage people to uh, add that to their musical palette because it won't. It, I think society's still so uh, racist that we've got a long way to go, and those bands and those artists aren't necessarily going to come up organically.
Yeah, I'm actually indigenous myself, so whenever I get the chance to push more indigenous culture, indigenous music, I try to definitely get it out there. And I even designed a clothing line like this hat here that sales from that go to support indigenous communities also.
My man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just I do a little bit every day if I can. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that's the vibe, man. And as my friend Jessica would say, there's no wrong way to be indigenous. And um, I'm I'm very, very um, inspired by the fact that that you would do that. I appreciate it.
for sure. Now I have a couple fun questions I ask everybody. It picks your brain a little
Nice.
bit. Since we were just talking about music that you're listening to, you talked about a lot of different rock acts. I'm curious if there's something on your playlist that people wouldn't expect that you listen to, like a guilty pleasure song.
Um, ooh, is there such thing as a guilty pleasure? Because like, if it gives you pleasure, isn't it just like, shouldn't you sort out the guilt on your own time? Like, it's just pleasurable. Like,
Yeah,
um, I love pop music. I don't think that there should be any guilt to that. But I think people might be surprised to know how much pop music and hip hop and singer-songwriters I listen to in my free time. I love the new Olivia Rodrigo record. That's an incredible rock record. There's an artist called Chapel Rowan
yeah.
who I listen to a lot, who's amazing. The new Troye Sivan record, I love so much, but I've actually been listening to his early work, like Blue Neighborhood. There's a song called Suburbia off Blue Neighborhood that has sort of become my anthem that I listen to pretty often. And then uh, also a big song in my life these days is Call Your Girlfriend by Robin. I don't
Okay.
know if you know that one.
I've actually heard. I haven't heard. I've heard the title before, but I haven't actually listened to it yet.
It is such a beautiful, catchy song. And if you actually look at the lyrics, it's like it's a very sort of sad, interesting story that's being told.
No, I like that question because I add more to my playlist that way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, fun one for you and the band. Who plays each member of you guys in the movie of your lives, like the biopic?
Okay, so people have sort of said that Clark reminds them of uh Steve Zahn and like Nick Offerman as Ron Swanson.
Okay.
So that'd be pretty sick if we could get Nick Offerman as Clark or a young Steve Zahn. Either would be great. Um, for Cole, hmm, Cole looks like to me just that he like such a 1970s vibe. So I'm trying to think of like to me some days Cole looks like he just like stumbled off the set of Almost Famous. So I'm just trying
Okay.
to think of like I'm trying to think of like who could play him. Well, I also like Cole has sort of a John Lennon vibe these days. Um, I don't know how good an actor John Lennon was. In like the Beatles movies or whatever.
Yeah.
But a young John Lennon. So okay, so if we think about it this way, Aaron Taylor Johnson played John Lennon in Nowhere Boy. He kind of looks like him. So I could see Aaron Taylor Johnson playing Cole.
Okay.
And then we got so then for Mike, I think that um I think Batista would be good to play Mike.
Okay.
Um a young Batista.
That'd be
And
interesting.
then I think like maybe Diego Luna uh would play me.
Okay.
I think
I
that
can see
I
that.
think that's I think that's the movie.
That'd be an interesting one for sure.
hmm Or maybe
Now,
uh or maybe Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I used to get that a lot.
I mean, yeah, I can see that too in a way. Now, the most introspective question I have is what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
Um um I think sort of good journalism, like you know it when you feel it, you know it when you hear it, you know a good sort of research question. Um, but well maybe we'll bring it back to sort of the social justice element, right? Like um what are you doing with your um platform beyond making the rich richer?
Yeah. No, I could, that's a, I add that one sometimes. I get a feeling for each person's when I'm looking at things, and sometimes it's just hard to pull out questions. So that's a good question for me that I can use to get more questions from everyone.
And yeah, you know, you might get somebody sort of to, reconsider, uh, why they're doing this thing and sort of how it came together, you know. I think that the new album, if is about the fact that everything happens because of community.
Hmm.
Like I'm not myself is like just a statement of like that no one's self-made, no one is self-reliant. It's a myth.
Yeah. No, that's for every, you need someone to help you be someone, really, that you can't just do it.
Yeah, none of this stuff exists in a vacuum, you know.
Hmm. That's all the fun notes I have written down. So, any last words of wisdom you'd like to leave to people before we sign off?
Well, if this comes out before the tour, come see us in one of the many cities that we're going to. And if you're listening to this and we're not coming anywhere near your city, I hope you check out our music and stream it and tell your friends. We're trying to pretty much I've already accomplished everything I wanted to, but from here on out, it's kind of um how far can we take this thing that I think is pretty special, this music career. So keep telling your friends. I think it's a special band that a lot of people get something from.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna to try to knock this out before the tour is over, for sure. Like, we're gonna get it out as quick as possible, and I'll
Nice.
link ticket sales and socials and everything so everyone can kind of keep up with you guys and see what's going on.
You're the best. I appreciate it.
Well, I won't keep you any longer, and I'm sure you got a lot of things to do, and nice busy day for myself also. But I'm definitely looking forward to see more about the live shows. And like I said, we're gonna have someone out to cover the live show and take some cool pictures at the Ottawa location.
Hell yeah. I look forward to it. Well, and I hope that you show up in person and I can shake your hand or whatever.
Yeah, if my calendar's free, I plan on being there.
Much love, man.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Peace.